We are clicking. Yep, we are recording. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this interview with my friend Sukanya, who is based in IABC India in Mumbai. Is that right, Sukanya?
Right, absolutely.
And I'm so excited to be able to congratulate her on being one of the 3 most recent strategic communication management professionals within IABC India who recently got certified. And this whole conversation is going to be to find out about her own journey with certification, but also how did she get into PR and comms and what makes her so passionate about professional development. Now, Sukanya, by the way, is currently heading the Corporate Communications and CSR Department for VFS Global. And she leads the communication agenda aimed at increasing share of voice and recall and reducing reputational risk, amongst many other responsibilities that she has for VFS Global. But we'll get right to it. And Sukanya, I would love to know what prompted you to even think about certification? I mean, we are in the middle of a pandemic. Why get certified?
Oh, well, I've been a member of IBC for a couple of years, and last year, I started checking out certifications in our field, and that would be relevant for someone like me. I've studied communication more than 2 decades back, but being a practitioner, I felt I needed to give myself the extra competitive edge, which is in line with the current times, and that, of course, led me to ABC. And when I spoke to Shubho, who's the president of the India chapter for IBC, he mentioned that, that's not there anymore. And I could possibly look at CMP or SCMP. And that's when, that led me to go through the handbook, and which, of course, I would say was pretty daunting for me to understand. But what I liked about SCMP was the way it was structured around the 6 pillars, which are so important and relevant to us, especially those who've been in the profession for so many years. I think that tremendously helped me structure the need for me to look at an SCMP certification as the next step in my career.
Right. And I think that's one of the things that people find about the SCMP. It's just the fact that, first off, you have to have had a certain amount of experience before you're able to attempt it. But it's also some of the things that steers people away, because, there's no easy way to really prepare for it, right? How did you prepare for it? Was there anything special that you did?
First of all, I bit my nails because it was an open canvas, to be very frank. It was an absolutely open canvas, and nothing was available on the internet except the IABC resources like podcasts, all the Gold Quill Awards, the learning modules, which I must say that they're pretty expensive, the modules. In fact, I would take this opportunity to let IABC also know that if they could re-look at the pricing, but we park that for a later time. But I had this as my universe, because there was nothing regimented or structured in terms of a syllabus or a curriculum that I could learn and go through. Thankfully, the call with you helped, because that was pretty assuring to hear even you in the same boat, when you were preparing. And of course, your guidance tremendously helped us to refresh the readings from EMEC, looking up the Catalyst newsletter, as well as, what I did was then break down the my preparation as per the pillars, the 6 pillars. And that helped. And of course, the 3 of us who appeared, we used to exchange notes every day. Guys, I've just gone through this link, see if it's helpful for you. And that collective knowledge, collaboration immensely helped.
I think that is such a big thing, right? Because even for me, and I know that's something I've heard also across IBC, is that sometimes we don't think we are good enough, but it's until somebody encourages us and says, oh, we're joining together and doing this together, that it becomes less daunting.
Yes. But I say, when I was preparing, yes, I was getting distracted because I didn't know if it was on the right track. But somehow I told myself, no, it's okay. You have to get back on track and read up. Even if you do not clear SCMP, it's fine. You will gain some knowledge by reading. So just read. So that helps.
I know. I actually felt the same way when after I was done, that just the preparation, because now you force yourself to read the Gold Quill case studies. You force yourself to go into areas that you don't usually do on a day-to-day basis. That invariably you learn before you sit for the exam, even though it's all about testing your experience and almost your leadership capability, right? Was there, if suppose somebody is on the fence right now and worried about the exam, what's your word of advice?
Don't be worried. Just plunge into it. Just plunge into it, because I've been through the process. Once you're through with the application, the application is a very simple one, but when you go through the items required in the form, it may seem very daunting. But once you're into it and you know what you need and what you need to collect as certificates of the training courses or any pro bono work or mentee letter, it's pretty simple. Just go through it. And at the end of the day, once you do that step, I guess it's a natural progression to start. You're mentally preparing yourself. So that mental preparation is very important, because it's, again, like I said, there's no regimented syllabus or a structured learning. So this is based on your experience and you brushing up what you've been doing all these years. When I remember when we were chatting with the my other co-participants who also got certified, with Sunita and Piali, and I told them, we've been doing all these things. When you read up, the case studies, or when you read up go through the learning modules, you would end up realizing that you're already doing it. It's just that you do not put it in the way that, the case studies have described it, or the, learning modules name it. But you've been doing it, so we'll be fine. But, still, I guess we had to bite our nails. Gulp coffees and cups of coffees and teas.
No, absolutely. And I think that because you've already been doing it, then to see it really come together and then to achieve certification, it really validates what you know.
Yeah. Another thing that plays on the mind of practitioners is, what if I fail? Because if you fail, oh my God, which means people are going to say, oh, what have you been doing for so many years? I guess, we should just take that thought aside and park it. If I fail, okay, I will retry it. But my experience is there to support me.
Yeah, exactly. How did you overcome the fear of failure? Because I'm sure that came to your mind. How do you park it? You just decided, just going to go for it?
So initially, yes, I was pretty scared that, what if I fail? So my daughter, she knew I was appearing for this, and she was like, okay, she saw me biting my nails. She said, oh, you're in the same boat as I am now. I have to prepare for exams. I said yes, but then I realized that, the advice that I always give her, that would help me. So put your fears aside. Prepared. If you're prepared, if you're well prepared, if you are calm enough to assimilate what you're learning, reading, that's going to really be helpful. The moment you're fearful, and you get distracted, that, I've not read this. Oh, I've not read that. No, don't do that. Put a structure into your learning and just go by that structure. Yes, you cannot read 100% of everything that's there. But even if you reach 60, 70%, that's good enough.
Okay. But now, Sukanya, it's coming to your background in PR and comms.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit, how did you enter this industry, or is there any achievement that you're particularly proud of? Why are you so passionate about, business communications?
So how I came into communications is a long story, but we'll park it for another day. Because I never really thought I would enter communication. I went on to study chemistry, actually, and I had physics and mathematics as my ancillary subjects. But I had almost decided that my post-graduation will be in an allied field, be it biomedical engineering or that kind of field that you normally get in after you do your you do your undergrads in on a subject like chemistry. But that particular year, I remember 1997. My dad happened to see an advertisement that they were announcing a new communication college that year, and they were inviting students to apply. And it would be a pretty rigorous one, the selection, and they would just select 20 out of the entire India for the master's program. So he, actually pushed me. He said, just go and sit for the exam. So I was like, but I don't want to do it. He said, just go and sit. We'll see later what happens. And then, of course, things followed. And before I could even, breathe, I was at the campus appearing for my face-to-face interview with the dean and the other professors, because that was the last round that you had to cross. because they had to really handpick the students in the first batch. And there you go. And my dad said, don't look back. You've got through. Just do this because you've got the aptitude. I kind of protested at that moment, but then I realized that in the hindsight, possibly it was a wise decision, because I kind of like what I'm doing, because communication at the end of the day is the foundation, is a base for everything.
Yeah.
Everything that you do in life. I mean, be it business, be it personal. And I quite enjoy, and since the last 22 years, it's become a part of my daily life, quite passionate about what I do. Help brands tell stories, help communicate the right thing, the right message, working with various stakeholders. It's kind of just shaped up in the last 20 years.
Actually, that brings me to your career, because you spent time in fairly large companies, right? Capgemini, Tata, Knight Frank. Right. And I'm sure you've dealt with such a various amount of people, of the campaigns, of the work, of the projects. Is there anything that stands out to you as to a project that was your favorite, or any piece of a milestone in your career that you're proud of especially?
Well, there are many, because for us, I realize that for us in communication, every little project is a milestone, because it is still today that, many a times you have to tell people what communication can do for you, because everyone knows that they can communicate. But, only a communicator who's a practitioner, who's been in the industry, knows what it takes to communicate. Right. But if I look back quickly, when I joined Knight Frank, it's again a real estate property consulting company. But what they had was loads of good content, research content that, the research team used to produce. And that content was just made into a press release and sent out. But what I realized that it was a lot of content unutilized, and you could actually make it relevant for various stakeholders using various channels to push the message out, and actually get going into from just outreach. You could do demand generation with that content to get inquiries and leads come your way. That would help, either the advisory team or the broking team in office or residential, pick those leads and then nurture them. So I did a complete change in the way they communicated. And yes, it took a lot of effort, because initially it was like, I did face hurdles, because they were not used to this kind of a structured way, and it was, but once they understood what I was trying to do, it became pretty easy. And then it became a process in itself. They knew that, okay, this research report is going to be out. So they knew that, okay, we have to do press, we have to do, these content which was made relevant, for the audiences, that kind of a demand generation, mailers, social media, obviously. Then you track the downloads of the report. You use that as your, you start using that as your base for your sales leads. It became a process in itself, and that helped, because then people started taking you seriously. That, okay, communication is just not about writing English. It is about a benefit that the business can get out if you do it in the right way.
Sukanya, I think you have basically encapsulated what so many people I've seen in conferences and panels are saying, and that is, the key point is to involve the different stakeholders. Absolutely. To make sure that you build relationships with them and show them, okay, here's how we can expand it. And one of the things I think somebody was saying is, one of the strongest things that PR and comms and communication, business communication, professional communication brings to the table is being aware of the risks. Absolutely. And being able to advise about that ahead of time, Right. But do you think there's anything else that you would recommend or inform a new communicator, a new professional communicator about as they start their own career journey?
Yeah. So, if I look back, communication has changed dramatically in the last 2 decades. The global dynamics, the communication channels, the speed of communication. Today, the audience wants to know facts in real time, and they are very unapologetically demanding. So it is important as a communicator to keep pace with the changing trends, the audience diversity, because today, it's not about just external, but internal also plays an important role in your audience segment. So the diversity of the audience, how your audience consumes information and interprets the same, because that is going to determine their behavior. So I would say to a communications professional who is wanting to grow into the field, the ability to learn fast, familiarize with the unfamiliar very quickly, sharp intuition, because many a times, we communicators have good intuition that helps us understand what may work and what may not work.
Yeah.
Be able to maintain a clear and a neutral mindset, because we have to be aware of the sensitivities around us and have a good judgment. And very importantly, the ability to join dots, because that's where for us in communication, I've realized that you are practically into every function in the company. The ability to join dots to see the bigger picture and therefore work on the the message type, the segmentation, your channels, everything else becomes, and of course metrics, because what you do has to get measured, otherwise it's not done.
You are 100% an SCMP. 100%. This has been an incredible conversation. I've really enjoyed it. For anyone else who has any information or has questions really about the certification journey, please feel free to reach out to IABC APAC. We can host an exam wherever you are. Reach out to me if you have any questions. And, if you need any, I don't know, you might just ping Sukanya on LinkedIn and you can see she's very generous with her knowledge. I have a feeling she'll probably respond and give you any advice if you ask for it. Sukanya, am I right? I should have put you on the spot, but I just know that you would.
No, absolutely. I'm all there to help in whatever way I can for another person who wants to get certified, and wherever possible, in my understanding, in my limited capacity, as much as possible, help one another. I think as communicators, we have to help everybody in the tribe to grow along with us.
That's perfect. And that's it, folks. We'll catch you on the next recording, but thanks for joining us and have a great day. Thank you, Sukanya.
Thank you so much, Kristy. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.